In many football matches, teams frequently argue over fouls and players often challenge the referee's decision. Now, picture a game without a referee to make fair calls. It would descend into chaos. Just as a referee upholds fairness on the field, the judicial system plays the same role in maintaining justice in society. Long before we had today's structured courts, justice in ancient India was handled in a much simpler way. During the Vedic period, disputes were resolved by village councils known as sabhas or samitis. These were local meetings where respected elders acted as judges. Instead of following written laws, they made decisions based on customs and traditions. It was a time when the community's collective wisdom was the law. For instance, if two villagers argued over a piece of land, they wouldn't go to court. They would bring their issue to the council, who would listen to both sides and decide what seemed fair based on traditions. This was the foundation of justice at the time. As time moved forward, the medieval period saw the rise of great empires like those of Ashoka and the Guptas. Justice during this era was delivered directly by kings or their appointed officials. Kings were seen as the ultimate authority, but because they couldn't handle every issue themselves, they appointed local ministers known as pradhans or mantris to manage legal matters. The king, as the head of a large organization, appoints managers to handle different departments. In the same way, medieval kings had legal officials to oversee disputes. If someone didn't agree with a decision, they could appeal directly to the king, just like we appeal to higher courts today. Things took a big turn during the British colonial period. The Britishers introduced a formal judicial system in India modeled after their own. They established civil and criminal courts in the presidencies of Calcutta, Bombay, and Madras. These courts were the foundation for the high courts and supreme courts we have today. Before this, justice was informal, but now, formal trials with judges and lawyers became the norm. For instance, if someone committed a crime in British-controlled India, they would face a formal trial instead of the local council system used in earlier periods. After India's independence in 1947, a new era of justice began. The Constitution of India, enacted in 1950, established a three-tier judicial system to ensure justice across the country. At the lowest level, we have district courts. These are like the teachers in your school, resolving local issues in towns and cities. Above them are the high courts, much like the headmasters. And at the top is the Supreme Court, similar to the school principal, with the final say in any matter. Let's say you buy a mobile phone, but it's faulty, and the shopkeeper refuses to help. You would first take the case to the district court. If you are not satisfied with their decision, you can appeal to the High Court and, if necessary, take it all the way to the Supreme Court, which acts as the final authority. But, like any system, there are challenges. Sometimes, cases take a long time to resolve. With thousands of cases pending, the process can feel as slow as waiting in a traffic jam. However, modern technology is helping speed things up. Today, courts are adopting digital tools for online hearings and faster communication, making the judicial system more efficient. The Indian judicial system has evolved from ancient councils under trees to the grand courtrooms we see today. It's designed to protect the rights of the people and ensure justice is served fairly, just like a referee ensuring fair play in a game. So now, it's your turn to tell us something. Where is the Supreme Court of India located? Kolkata, Mumbai, Chennai, or New Delhi? Tell us in the comments. And do not forget to like, share and subscribe for more interesting videos.